To cover up the secret that her daughter was pregnant out of wedlock, the mother decided to find a scapegoat for her daughter in the community. She soon fixed her eyes on the wealthy woman next door. It was only because the woman had just moved in 3 days earlier, when the neighbor took her daughter and took the initiative to offer help. She accidentally learned that the woman had a just adult son. 3 days later, the neighbor came to the woman's house again. She falsely accused the woman's son of assaulting her daughter. The woman was completely stunned upon hearing this. The so-called son she mentioned was actually a pet dog. It was utterly impossible for the dog to commit such an act, so the woman kindly reminded the neighbor if she had mistaken the person. But the neighbor insisted firmly. She claimed that the person who bullied her daughter was the woman's son. She even stated the full name of the woman's son. She also demanded that the woman's son apologize to her daughter and pay 2 million yuan in compensation for mental distress. Otherwise, she would ensure that the son was sent to prison. As she spoke, the neighbor pulled up her daughter's sleeve. She claimed that all the scars and injuries were caused by the woman's son. The onlookers flew into a rage immediately at the sight. They shouted that the woman must be no good either. She had just moved in and let her son commit such a crime. Only then did the woman realize the neighbor was probably framing her on purpose, so she calmly told the onlookers, based on her understanding of her son, he would never do such a thing. Besides, everything had to be based on solid evidence. One could not frame an innocent person just based on the words of the neighbor and her daughter. The onlookers started whispering and discussing among themselves upon hearing this. Some people thought the woman made a reasonable point, but others believed the woman was covering up for her son. Seeing this, the neighbor decided to add fuel to the fire. She then told her daughter to publicly state the crimes committed by the woman's son. The daughter immediately told everyone with tears in her eyes. She had run into the woman's son by the community gate the previous night. He said he liked her very much and wanted to date her. The girl intended to refuse, but the woman's son forcibly dragged her to the rooftop. He threatened that he would be rough on her if she refused. Out of extreme fear, she was forced to have sexual relations with the woman's son. Only at that moment did the woman finally confirm. The mother and daughter, who coordinated with each other perfectly, were framing her deliberately. She could not help questioning the mother and daughter why they were lying. Unexpectedly, the daughter suddenly became emotional upon hearing this. She even unzipped part of her clothes to expose the scars on her body. She claimed that all these were done by the woman's son. The onlookers immediately believed the story to be true. They all demanded that the woman's son come out and take responsibility. At the sight of this, the woman laughed out of anger. She told everyone the mother and daughter must have known that there were no surveillance cameras at the community gate and the rooftop. That was why they made up the story to frame her son. She thus advised the onlookers not to be exploited. Upon hearing this, the mother and daughter actually took out an identification report. They claimed that DNA belonging to the woman's son had been detected on the daughter's clothes. The neighbors then put on an act and broke down crying loudly on the spot. The onlookers became infuriated and outraged because of this. They took out their phones one after another to expose the woman. The woman knew that no amount of explanation would help, so she called her mother to bring her son out for a confrontation. Soon, her mother arrived leading a dog on a leash.